I always knew my mother-in-law, Carol, was a problem. Entitled, manipulative, self-destructive. But I never realized just how deep that went, how much my wife, Megan, enabled her, until the day I came home and found my entire antique key collection gone. Carol had always been a financial disaster. She hoarded compulsively, spent recklessly, and expected Megan and me to pick up the slack whenever she ran out of money. Her house? A total wasteland. Garbage stacked to the ceiling, unopened packages cluttering every surface, the smell of decay lingering in the air. The only clean space was her bedroom-turned-studio, where she holed up like a hermit with a mini fridge, a microwave, and a TV. She survived on Social Security and whatever guilt money Megan funneled to her. Every few months, she'd show up demanding something new. This time, a new phone. "James, it's not that big a deal," Megan had said, watching me with cautious eyes when I first refused. "Her phone is 2 years old," I shot back. "And it still works." "What exactly is the emergency?" Carol, sitting across from me at the kitchen table, huffed loudly. "I can't believe you're making me beg," she muttered, folding her arms like a child. "I'm your wife's mother. You should be treating me like a queen." "You are 53, not 80, I snapped. "And I'm not responsible for funding your shopping addiction." That was the wrong thing to say. Carol's face twisted in fury. "Oh, so now I'm some pathetic old woman with an addiction," she screeched. I pinched the bridge of my nose, already feeling the migraine forming. Megan wasn't saying a word. Just standing there, arms crossed, lips pressed together, watching. Carol stormed out, slamming the door behind her so hard the wall shook. I thought that was the end of it. I was so wrong. A few days later, I came home from work and felt it immediately. Something was off. The house was too quiet. My gut twisted as I walked into the living room, my eyes scanning the space. Then I saw it. My display cabinet. The glass doors were wide open. The lock was busted. And inside, nothing. My entire antique skeleton key collection was gone. A cold weight settled in my stomach. I sprinted to check the security footage, fingers shaking as I pulled it up. And there she was. Carol. On the screen, she waddled into the house like she owned the place, carrying a crowbar. I watched in horror as she forced open my cabinet, stuffing hundreds of my keys into a box like they were cheap trinkets. Then, just as casually, she strolled out the front door, taking 10 years of my work with her. I called her immediately, my pulse pounding in my ears. She answered on the third ring, sounding annoyed. "What do you want, James? Where are my keys?" I snarled. There was a pause. Then, "Oh, that," she said breezily. "Sold them already." I almost dropped the phone. "You, what?" "Pawned them this morning," she said, like it was nothing. "Needed the money for my phone, since you were being difficult." I gripped the edge of the table, trying to stay calm. "Carol, those keys were worth thousands." She laughed. "Oh, please. That junk? The guy at the pawn shop didn't even want them at first. I got, like, $300. My vision blurred with rage. "You better get them back. Right now." "Not a chance. That money's already spent, sweetie." "But hey," she chuckled, "maybe this will teach you to be more generous with your in-laws." I hung up before I said something that would make things worse. I turned to Megan, who had been standing there, watching the whole time. "Tell me you didn't know about this," I said, my voice dangerously low. She hesitated. She swallowed hard. I didn't think she'd actually do it. I stepped closer. "You gave her a key to her house, didn't you?" She flinched. That was my answer. My stomach churned. "Megan, she broke into our home and stole from me." I know, James," she burst out. "But she's my mom. What was I supposed to do?" "I don't know. Maybe not hand her a goddamn key?" She ran a hand through her hair, breathing fast. "Look, I'll talk to her. I'll fix this." I let out a hollow laugh. "Yeah? And how exactly do you plan to do that?" "She already sold them." She bit her lip, eyes darting away. And then I said the words that made everything crystal clear. "I'm calling the police." Her head snapped up. "James, no. She committed a felony, Megan. I'm not just letting this go. Please, just don't." "Why the hell not?" Her eyes pleaded with me. "Because she's my mother." I stared at her. Everything, our entire marriage, flashed before me in that moment. Every time she defended her mom. Every time she made excuses. Every time she chose Carol over me. I realized something then. Megan would never be on my side. She would always choose Carol. And I was done. That night, I slept in the guest room. The next morning, I called the police. The police arrived an hour after I made the call. By then, I had everything ready. Security footage, pictures of my collection, even Carol's texts where she outright admitted to stealing and selling my keys. I half expected the cops to treat it like a civil dispute, but they didn't. The moment they saw the footage of Carol forcing open my display case, they knew this was a crime. When I handed over the texts, one of the officers let out a low whistle. Damn, she just straight up confessed, huh? Yeah, I muttered, still feeling that strange, detached calm. The kind you get when you've finally accepted something is beyond saving. One officer stayed behind to take my full statement, while the other headed to the pawn shop before it closed. Meanwhile, Megan sat on the couch, silent. She hadn't said a word since I called the cops. Hadn't begged me to stop. Hadn't tried to defend her mother. But I could feel her anger radiating off her in waves. An hour later, the officer who went to the pawn shop called me. Mr. Carter, we got your collection back. The owner handed it over without issue. Relief flooded through me, but only for a second. Because I knew what was coming next. Carol was about to be arrested, and Megan was about to lose her mind. When the cops finally left, she exploded. You actually called the police on my mother? She stole from me, Megan. She's my MOM. And does that mean she gets to commit felonies? Her hands clenched into fists. You could have just gone to the pawn shop and bought them back. I stared at her, truly baffled. You wanted me to buy back my own stolen property? With what money? The same money your mom steals from you every month. She flinched. But she didn't back down. Because this wasn't about logic. This was about her mother always coming first. You don't understand, she said, her voice shaking. No, Megan. I do. I let out a sharp breath. I understand perfectly now. She looked at me, really looked at me. And for a moment, I thought, maybe, she'd finally get it. She didn't. Instead, she grabbed her phone and started dialing. Who are you calling? I asked, already knowing the answer. I'm getting her a lawyer. I laughed. A dry, humorless laugh. You're unbelievable. She shot up from the couch. You're putting her in jail, James. She did that to herself. Her jaw clenched. Her eyes flashed with rage. You think this is the solution? Throwing my mother in jail like some common criminal. She is a criminal, I snapped. Jesus, Megan, do you even hear yourself? She broke into our house. She stole from me. She admitted it in texts. And you still, act like I'm the one in the wrong. She shook her head, her breath coming fast. I don't even know who you are anymore. That stung. Not because it was true. Because I finally saw her for who she really was. Right back at you, I said quietly. She stared at me for a long time. Then, without another word, she turned and walked to the bedroom, slamming the door shut behind her. That was the moment I knew. This marriage was already over. Carol was arrested the next morning. I didn't go to the police station, but Megan did. She was gone all day. When she finally came home, she looked exhausted, reedied, like she had been crying. She dropped her purse on the table and just stood there, staring at me. Bail is set at $5,000, she said. I sipped my coffee. Good. Silence. Then, I need you to transfer me the money. I almost laughed. You're joking. You got her arrested, James, she snapped. You should be the one paying to get her out. I closed my laptop, took a deep breath, and stood up. Megan, listen very carefully. I am not, under any circumstances, paying a single cent to bail out the woman who stole from me, laughed in my face about it, and blamed me for her actions. If you want her out so badly, figure it out yourself. Her lips trembled. Then, she smirked. A slow, cold smirk. Fine, she said. I'll find another way. And she did. That night, I had a bad feeling. Call it instinct. Paranoia. Something. I checked our shared bank account. Megan had withdrawn $5,000. I stared at the screen, feeling something inside me snap. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to the cheap motel I knew she'd be staying at. Sure enough, her car was parked outside. I knocked on her door. She opened it, and her face paled. James, give me back my money. Her expression shifted. The fear melted into smug satisfaction. I took it from our shared account, she said, crossing her arms. Money that I contributed. She rolled her eyes. Oh, so now it's mine and yours. I thought we were partners. I clenched my jaw. You can keep the money, I finally said. I don't care anymore. But I hope you enjoy spending it, because I just pulled every cent of my own money out of that account. Consider it a parting gift. Her smirk vanished. You can't just. I already did. I turned around and walked away. And for the first time in years, I felt free. Megan didn't come home that night. Or the next. I didn't reach out. I didn't ask where she was. I didn't care. I spent the next few days securing my finances, separating everything that was still tied to her, changing my passwords, making sure she couldn't drain anything else. Then, I called my landlord. Hey, I need permission to change the locks. There was a pause. Then, that bad. Worse. Do what you need to do, he said with a sigh. Just send me a copy of the new key. Done. By the time Megan finally realized what I'd done, it was too late. She came back 3 days later, dragging her suitcase behind her. She reached for her key, tried to unlock the door, and froze. Then, she pounded. James, open the goddamn door. I leaned back on the couch, watching her through the peephole, my coffee warm in my hands. My phone rang. I let it buzz twice before answering. What? What the hell did you do? Check your texts, I said simply. There was silence on her end. Then, I saw her pull out her phone, scroll, and her shoulders stiffened. I had texted her the day I changed the locks. She just never bothered to read it. You can't just lock me out, she stammered. I absolutely can, I said. This is my house too, you asshole. For now, I admitted. But I'm not renewing my part of the lease. If you want to stay, go ahead. Sign a new lease. But it'll be without me. Her hands trembled. You're really doing this? I sighed. Megan, it was over the moment you chose your mother over me. She blinked rapidly, her breath coming fast. For a second, I thought she might actually cry. Then, she did what she always did. She got angry. You are throwing away our marriage over keys. I laughed. A hollow, exhausted laugh. No, Megan. I'm throwing away our marriage because I have never, not once, been your priority. Your mother always came first. Always. And I'm done. She stared at me through the peephole. Then, finally, she turned and walked away. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. The next morning, I woke up to dozens of notifications. My phone was blowing up. Texts. Missed calls. A Facebook tag. I clicked on it, and there it was. Megan had gone nuclear. She had posted a long, dramatic rant about how I had abandoned her in the worst moment of her life, how I had heartlessly thrown her out with nowhere to go, how I had ruined her family and left her mother to rot in jail. And people believed her. Her friends. Our mutual friends. Comments flooded in. Dude, what the hell is wrong with you? You seriously kicked your wife out over some dumb antiques. Her mom is in jail because of you. You went too far. I exhaled slowly. Then, I did something Megan wasn't expecting. I posted the security footage of Carol breaking into my house. The text where she admitted to stealing my keys. The bank statement showing Megan drained our account. Then I wrote, since my wife conveniently left out the part where her mother committed a felony, stole from me, and she helped cover it up, here's the truth. If anyone still thinks I'm the villain after this, feel free to block me. I don't have time for delusional people. Then I turned off my phone. When I checked it again that evening, Megan's post was gone. But she hadn't deleted it fast enough. Screenshots had already spread. And people, even her own friends, started turning on her. The messages changed. Damn, man. I had no idea. Wow. She really tried to play the victim, huh? Good for you for standing up for yourself. Megan didn't call. She didn't text. But that night, I got one last notification. A comment from her. A single, bitter sentence. I hope you and your stupid keys are happy together. I smirked. I really was. Megan went silent after that. No calls. No texts. No sudden knocks at my door. For the first time in years, I felt like I could finally breathe. I spent the next few days packing up my things. I wasn't waiting for the lease to end. I wanted out now. I had already found an apartment, a one-bedroom place closer to my job, and I planned to start moving in as soon as it was ready. Megan hadn't come back for her stuff. She hadn't even tried. But I knew she was still around. Waiting. I found out what for a few days later. I got a call from an unknown number early in the morning. At first, I ignored it. Then it called again. And again. By the fourth time, I answered. James Carter. The voice was calm, professional. Yeah, this is Officer Reynolds with the City Fire Department. We received a report about your mother-in-law's property. I believe you're familiar with the residence. My stomach dropped. Yeah, why? Her home has been officially declared uninhabitable. Severe fire hazard, exposed wiring, structural instability, rodent infestation. It's being condemned next month. I closed my eyes. Carol's hoarder house had finally caught up with her. And what does this have to do with me? I asked slowly. We've been trying to reach your wife. She listed you as an emergency contact, but she hasn't been answering. I nearly laughed. Of course she hadn't. Well, she and I aren't exactly on speaking terms right now, I admitted. Understood, the officer said. If you do hear from her, let her know the city is moving forward with demolition orders. Yeah, I'll let her know. I hung up and sat there, processing. Then I laughed. Because Megan was about to lose her mind. I didn't have to wait long. That evening, I got home to find Megan in my living room. I stopped in the doorway, heart pounding. How the hell did you get in here? She glared at me, arms crossed. I still had a spare key. My hands clenched into fists. I took a slow breath through my nose. Get out. No. We stood there, staring each other down. Then, finally, she snapped. Did you do this? She screamed. What? Did you report my mother's house? I laughed. Megan, your mother's house was literally falling apart. Someone was gonna report it eventually. It wasn't me, but honestly, I wish it had been. Her face turned bright red. You don't understand. That's her home. She has nowhere else to go. Not my problem. You heartless bastard. She launched herself at me, shoving me in the chest. I barely moved. Megan, leave. Now. She just stood there, shaking. Then, in a quiet, broken voice, she whispered. I was going to move her in with us. I froze. She wasn't looking at me anymore, just staring at the floor. I was going to do it while you were at work, she admitted. She was going to take the spare room. I knew you'd say no, so I was just going to do it. I took a step back, shaking my head. Unbelievable. Megan looked up. You don't understand, James. She's my mother. I have to take care of her. At the cost of our marriage? She hesitated. And that told me everything. Get out, I said. James? I said get out. She grabbed her purse and stormed out the door. I watched her leave, knowing that this was it. The final nail in the coffin. Megan didn't come back after that. Not to talk. Not to fight. Not even to get her things. She just disappeared. I moved into my new apartment a week later. It felt strange at first, too quiet, too empty. But that emptiness felt good. It wasn't loneliness. It was peace. I was done. So done. But Megan? She wasn't. I woke up one morning to find my phone blowing up. Not from Megan. Not from her friends. From my mother. A woman I had been no contact with for years. I stared at the screen, my stomach twisting into knots. I let it go to voicemail. Then she called again. And again. By the fifth call, I picked up. How could you? She hissed. I sighed. Here we go. Hello to you too, Mom. Don't you hello me, James? Your wife told me everything. I rubbed my temples. And what exactly did she tell you? That you threw her out on the street? That you let her poor mother die in jail? That you've turned into a selfish, ungrateful? I hung up. Then I blocked her number. I sat there, gripping my phone, breathing through my rage. Megan had gone to my mother. The one person she knew would take her side, no matter what. And she had fed her lies. I didn't hear from either of them for 2 days. Then, one evening, there was a knock at my door. I checked the peephole. And there they were. Megan. And my mother. I opened the door but didn't step aside. You've got 5 seconds to explain what the hell you're doing here. Megan crossed her arms. You won't answer my calls. You won't talk to me. So I had to get creative. Bringing my abusive mother into this? Real creative, Megan. Mom gasped. How dare you talk to me like that? Nope, I said, cutting her off. We're not doing this. I started to shut the door. Megan shoved her foot in the way. James, please, just talk to me. I met her eyes. Why? So you can lie some more? So you can manipulate me like you did her? I jerked my chin toward my mother, who was fuming. No thanks. Megan's mask cracked. You ruined my life, she whispered. I laughed. Actually laughed. I ruined your life? Megan, you threw away our marriage for your mother. You stole from me. You covered up a felony. And you think I'm the villain? She swallowed hard. Then she played her last card. I was pregnant. Silence. Cold. Heavy. I stared at her. My heart pounded in my ears. You're lying, I said. She smiled, a slow, nasty smile. I was, she repeated. But after all this stress, I lost it. So congratulations, James. You didn't just ruin our marriage. You killed our baby. Something inside me snapped. I stepped forward. Megan flinched, but I didn't touch her. You're sick, I said, my voice low and even. You are actually sick. And I thank God every day that I never had a kid with you. Her eyes widened. Now get out, I said. Both of you. Before I call the cops. Megan staggered back. She looked genuinely shocked. Like she never expected me to fight back. Mom just scoffed and turned on her heel. Megan hesitated, then followed. That was the last time I saw her. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. She didn't fight it. Didn't even show up to court. She just let it happen. And me? I walked out of that courthouse feeling lighter than I had in years. Free.